Zaden he's a very special kid. He was actually the first grandson of my parents. And then after him, I had my first son who's 5, his cousin. So we had him for 5 years. And so all of us really got to know him. He was the baby. He's brought our family together in so many ways. And this has been another reason why Zaden has brought us even closer.
When I was driving out to meet Zaden, I didn't know what to expect. And I don't think he knew what to expect either. So the two of us are sitting on the couch, just chit-chatting, opening up to each other. And at the end, he's telling us all about his interests, his passions, his dreams, what he likes.
He loves to go to the mountains, he loves to go to the ocean, he likes to be at the zoo, he loves going to the national parks with his parents, and when he's inside, he plays with video games.
And he's a big video game guy. I know as we were talking, one of the other things, he was like, what if I just got a wall of TVs and could just play all the video games on that wall of TVs? I was like, that sounds kind of awesome, Zaden.
And these are all starting to give us clues as to where the wish is going.
It was June last year, June 2022, when Zaden came in the hospital, and I was rotating as the hospital doctor that week, and so I was the first doctor to meet them. He'd been having some vague symptoms, not feeling great, feeling more tired, a little bit short of breath, and went into an urgent care, had a blood count that showed he was alarmingly anemic. And so that tipped him off that maybe something is wrong with his bone marrow, and came to our service at Loma Linda, where we did check his bone marrow and found out he had leukemia.
It was devastating when we first found out.
I think that at first there was a lot of fear. You know, when you hear that, there's a lot of fear. There's so many unknowns. You have questions that you don't necessarily have answers to, not even the doctors have answers to them in the beginning. Everything's you take it step by step.
It was a big shock to them. But I think they put a lot of thought into when we were discussing the treatment plan.
Zaden's diagnosis meant that he was gonna have hospital stays, that he was going to have to go to the clinic. He was going to go through chemotherapy. He was going to stop going to school, because that happens when you're going through this. You can't go to school just like you normally would. It brought us to a place where we knew that there was a long journey ahead.
So his journey started in June of last year, and he's been on treatment pretty much continuously since that time, and he still has more treatment to go. So it's a very difficult, initially very intensive time where parents and patients, they have to come to clinics initially a lot of times twice a week to make sure they're okay. I was looking back, he actually has had 9 hospital admissions during that time. He's had 20 lumbar punctures, which is colloquially known as a spinal tap, where we put a needle in the lower part of the spine.
From my perspective, it's one thing to witness him going through the fight, but it's another perspective when you see your sister fighting alongside her child.
My name is Samantha Stewart, and I am a child life specialist at Loma Linda. So the role of the child life specialist, I think, is a unique role here at Loma Linda. We get to kind of walk with the kids through their journey, and we help provide coping support. So as the kids are learning about their diagnosis, we break it down in a developmentally appropriate way. We play with them, kind of normalize the environment as much as possible, and try to make this as happiest of a place as possible while they're getting their treatment with us. I remember the first day I met him, and it's not often that I can remember the first day that I met a kid, but I remember the first day I met him was actually in our procedure room. And I was new here, I was training, and I went over to go offer him toys. And he was at a very hard part of his treatment, and it was towards the beginning, and it's hard on our kids. It's hard on their bodies, it's hard on their emotional state. And I walked in there, and he had the blanket pulled up to his face, and all I saw was his little eyes poking out. And I said, "Hey buddy, can I get you something from the playroom?" And he said, "Nope." I could not get him to get anything. And all I wanted was to be able to give this kid something to make him smile.
As far as everyday life, you know, every day is different. When you go through medications like chemotherapy, you know, there's so many things that change. And some of that is, you know, some days are difficult in the sense that you feel frustrated, you feel defeated. You know, like in this case, us, his support system, and my sister, we are met with the role of motivating him and reminding him that this is necessary and we have to move on with this fight.
Second time I met him, same thing. Third time I met him, same thing. It wasn't until the fourth time when he finally took model magic from me, which is kind of like Play-Doh. And I said, what color do you want? And he's like, I get to pick? And that was the first time I saw him smile, and I will never forget that. Those smiles back then were hard to come by.
In between times, when he's feeling better, he's a very happy kid. In fact, very recently, he entered a phase of treatment that's less intensive called maintenance, and I said, Zaden, you can go back to school. And his eyes just like lit up. I've never seen a kid so excited with the idea of going back to school.
He's so brave. He often mentions, you know, I've done this before. I'm gonna get through this. I just hope he's happy like he always was, and that he gets all those smiles back that he used to have is what we're looking forward to.
My name is Christina, and I'm the Senior Wish Coordinator here at Make-A-Wish Orange County in the Inland Empire. So when I spoke with Zaden and his mom, we just wanted to get a little bit more details regarding his wish to see if and when we're able to grant it. He let me know that he wished for a golden retriever. When I asked him why, he told me that because they are the best dogs in the world.
One of the comments he made to us was, well, I really want this type of dog. I already have a name for her, but I can't get her now because I have to wait till I'm better so that when she's bigger, I can take care of her.
I can't say it enough. He's a caring kid, right? And so getting to hear a lot of other kids, they want to do these big trips and these big things, but getting to hear that he wants something that he can take care of, something that he can care for. I just think that speaks to who he is as a person, right? He wants something that he can love on, and that makes so much sense for him.
And so we asked him, we said, okay, well, will you be taking care of her, or are your folks taking care of her? And he says, oh no, it'll be my job to teach her to sit, to stay, and to not bite. And it will be at night, she'll come up on my bed, we'll sleep together. And in the day, I know dogs need to be played with, so I'll throw her a stick. And then when we leave and we go to the park, I'll take her to the dog park so she can learn to play with other animals.
He wants a pup to call his own, and he wants to be able to name it whatever he wants. And the last time I asked him about why he asked for this wish, he said, what do you mean? It's like a friend for life. I think that it's really gonna bring him the joy that he so desperately needs going through all of this.
If Zaden gets his wish granted, I just hope that it brings such a smile to his face, because I know this is something that's going to bring his family together, and it's going to bring Zaden so much joy and just give him the motivation just to keep moving forward and follow his dreams.
Hey, guess what, Zaden? Your wish has been granted.
Oh my God!
You seem a little emotional. Well, just so everybody knows, this wouldn't happen without the folks in the audience. This is the 8,000th local wish that's been granted. That is 8,000 wish journeys completed and thousands of local lives touched by the power of the wish. Zaden, congratulations.